that. Rabbi Schaffer was the Rav when my father was bar mitzvah. And Rabbi Schwab was criticized for having this breakfast on Sunday morning because it was imitating the others.
The men's clubs.
And Moshe Schwab says his father persisted because he knew that would bring more people closer.
It did.
But they're the things that you taught us, Dad. You and Mommy taught us. You know, the shul was family in the shul, and the Rav were central to everything. And I think that's my opinion, how it happened in an adverse environment.
The fact of how your wife's funeral was conducted on Rosh Chodesh Chanukah with no hespedim, with no eulogies at all, which is by the book. I remember I spoke to Rabbi on the phone. He said, well, there won't be any hespedim. I said, yeah, if you go exactly by the book, there won't be any hespedim, because hardly, very often, a way is found. I think that maybe also goes in. I mean, I guess that's the respect for this is the way it's supposed to be. Rabbi Schwab would have been very proud of that. That's for sure. It was exactly the way it's supposed to be without any shtick.
And Adam, we have it. We'll show you that when you're ready. But Adam did a beautiful job of the little bit that had to be done in terms of conducting a service.
Well, as I told the rabbi some time ago, there were no rabbis to start with, but they're coming along.
He's referring to in the family.
Right. Mr. Lehman says he didn't come from a long line of rabbis, but he seems to have a long line of rabbis coming from him. A growing line of rabbis.
Slowly but surely created him the line.
Baruch Hashem.
And it's sometimes not so slowly that.
No.
Flame hearts, beautiful, beautiful family.
And Mommy came into the world much the way she went out, which is what I think we're supposed to. We're supposed to grow, and we're supposed to learn, and we're supposed to change. But we still need to go out in the same, with the same emunah that Hashem brought us into the world. Mommy went out that way. In that respect, she was tenacious. I always said there are the positives and negatives to this, but what my grandmother did, my mother did exactly. What the previous generation did, my mother carried forward, sometimes to you might have even said to a fault, but she carried it forward.
I was always very, very inspired by Savta's benching. She used to bench every single word with such devotion. It was unbelievably inspiring. Until very, 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 very late.
Right to the end, Joshie. Every Shabbos, she would bench. We would sing the benching. She loved to sing the benching. Jewish education from a girl who went to Park School and the Suburban Club wasn't very strong. Her Jewish education was her father and Mr. Rifkin. Mr. Rifkin being Bernhard Birnbaum's grandfather. And
Father lives right here in the building.
Hmm?
Harriet lives right here in the building.
And he would come 3 days a week to teach the three girls. So there wasn't a whole lot. But I'm sure that benching by the table was what her father did, and her mother learned to do, because her mother came from Richmond Reform, and she knew benching. She might not have been able to read, a safer real well, but she knew benching, and it was, I don't know, 2 weeks ago I was here for Shabbos. She loved the bench. She did the whole thing from start to finish.
Or we would be like playing for 10 minutes already. She'd still be benching.
Out loud. So that was part of the education. That was part of the Masorah.
And Mr. Rifkin, the fellow was part of the education.
Yeah.
He came and taught them their history and had his napping session during it. Always discussed.
Yeah.
Took his nap during the lessons, but still taught them what they had to learn.
I had Mr. Rifkin as he was teacher in the Hebrew school when Pekah Tikva was down on where near
Off of Belvedere.
off of Belvedere. He was the principal of the school there, and he was teaching. Of course, I ran out the window a few times.
That's what Hebrew schools.
So through the years, it was definitely bit by bit, piece by piece, and it built and built on itself.
But it wasn't random. It was what you and Mommy really taught us. And really showed us by example, I think, also.
Well, it came from the beginning that to remember that my father, my grandfather, they were close to the bottom religiously.
When your father came from a Reformed background, not your grandfather. His father, you mean? Or PW?
His father.
Yeah, Granddad's father. I never knew him. Yeah, it took, the Baal Tshuva movement isn't a new movement here in Baltimore. My mother's father was a Strauss, married. His wife was a Reformed woman from Richmond, and my father's mother was a Gundersheimer who married my grandfather, who didn't know before he got married. He was the last president of the Makavas Sheret Israel downtown. He was the spearhead of the Rogers Avenue mikveh. You know, so the Baal Tshuva movement was alive and well in
It's
the
still going
family.
on.
It's still going on.
It's more colorful.
The, trying to think. When was the last one closed?
Makava Street,
Yeah.
1963, because that's when Granddad and Grandma were going to move up to Pinckney Road, and Grandma passed away right before that. So up till 1963, although they were out of the Makava Street shul, weren't they davening in a house?
Yes.
I don't know whose house it was, because they had already sold the shul.
I think Jacob Cohn was connected with it.
No, Jacob Cohn was gone by then, Dad.
What's what?
Jacob Cohn was gone by 1963. It was Will Copeland, or was it Morris Siegel or Will Copeland?
Will Copeland, Morris Siegel, they were part of that crowd, yes.
Yeah, Figgy Oberstein's.
Yeah, he's doing well.
Yeah, Figgy Oberstein's uncle was Morris Siegel. Right.
Yeah, he came into it, I don't know how, but he became very active.
And they tried to survive downtown, but it was a losing battle.
I just want to add that the reason for like the whole family unit is everyone's always been treated as equals. A son, a son-in-law, daughter, daughter-in-law. My in-laws treated everyone the same. Grandkids, there really were no favorites and everything.
Even though I would tease Mom.
Right.
Yeah. You're right.
I would always tease Mommy because she was the middle child and I'm the middle child. And she would say that she was a favorite. So I would always say, of course I'm number one, I have to be the favorite.
Get a doctor. Get a doctor.
I always tease her about that. She would never give in though, would she, Dad? I have 3 favorites.
I like that sign.
No.
I used to be decisive on that issue. I
And
won't read all the signs.
She knit them.
she
But that's a
made
knitted one, that one?
Yeah.
Everything.
she made a needlepoint for me, something to the effect about I lost my mind and I'm trying to find it. And that's similar to that, which was very cute for she made it for my office and I debated about putting it up. I thought maybe I'd offend someone, but she made it and I decided I'm going to put it up right outside the entrance to my own consultation room. And I've never had anybody say anything negative. People often walk in, it breaks the ice, they kind of laugh at it. And I told them my mother made it for me, and I say I debated about putting it up and never had a negative response to it.
You would have to ask Rocky. Excuse me.
Well, we just picked that up, Dad.
What?
We just picked that up that it was enough.
Well, sometimes it's